G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a riot shield. Players of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the new one of course, will probably recognize this thing right away, but if you haven't seen it in that game, here's a photo that I found on the internet. There's a Sheila, she's got it on her back. She's got it on backwards, but I guess not being shot in the back by someone you can't see, I guess that's okay. Also, I like how she's wearing full military gear, yet still got makeup on. Yeah, thanks, immersion ruined. There's a legendary effect slot you can utilize on this. Don't worry about these grenades. They'll be relevant a little bit later. But there's only one legendary effect that I think makes sense. And since this is a weapon, technically you can punch people with it like a melee weapon. But the mod author says there's going to be some sort of version of this that'll be worn as an armor slot instead, which is interesting. I'm interested to see how that all goes down. But there's a Sentinel's legendary effect, which means we're going to take 50% less damage while standing, not crouching, very important, and not moving. So we'll be standing there nice and still. We'll just have to, like, I don't know, do a little dance, make sure we don't get our feet blown off by 50 cal snipers, because, you know, that's the possibility. That's the only part of us that'll be exposed when hiding behind this riot shield. Now, let's get to the second part of this. The second part of this weapon video is going to be on the M84 Gustav, which is a man-portable, single-use missile launcher type weapon capable of firing many different types of missiles. We'll refer to these as elements, I guess, because I've got nothing better. And you might see that there's many different crafting recipes for each. I should go and stress that this mod actually does require a different mod, which gives you a bunch of these different ammo types of missiles that normally would be a pain in the ass, but that's just there for an extra little bit of options when you're crafting this thing. You don't actually have to go out of your way to craft these new missile types in order to utilize these weapons. So this one here is taking the missile anti-tank, that's what AT stands for generally, and it'll be requiring M84 Gustav, which is empty. Obviously, when you fire this thing, then it'll become an empty, dropped on the ground for you to pick up again, which can cause problems because either you have to clean up as you go along, or you clean up after yourself after combat, which is a little bit of annoying downtime. But I guess if there's some grenades thrown or explosives thrown back at you, these things are going to get launched fairly far, and you probably won't find them again. But like I said, you don't have to worry about that too much because these things aren't that valuable in and of themselves, and you can craft them fairly easily. Any one of these weapons that you fire will be converted into just the standard empty Gustav, so you could potentially fire off one cryo missile and then reprocess it to craft and fire an AT missile instead. Other options for crafting are to make them out of just parts, circuitry, copper, and steel. Not a whole lot, but you know, potentially might be running low on those on an early game basis. These things, by the way, only weigh 40, so you could potentially get away with carrying a lot of these things if you don't want to fire a missile launcher more than once or twice or something. You could potentially carry 4 or 5 of these at the same weight of a standard missile launcher, plus you get all of the extra different elements too, so one for every occasion. Right now, we'll just craft this one just with the standard crafting materials that you'll find in the game, and one missile, and we can get as many of these as we like, which the anti-tank variants will just grab many of these. We can actually track how many we've got by looking at how many versions we have of these in our inventory, which is nice. Let's grab, say, 20. I'll just do that off camera. So, cryo versions. So as you can tell, a whole bunch of crafting recipes for here. You can utilize cryo cells, cryo mines, and cryo grenades to make these things. Obviously, most of those are craftable. Sorry, 2 of those are craftable, the mines and the grenades are craftable on the chemistry workbench, so potentially you could do this all just on one stop for the chemistry workbench. We happen to be carrying 10 cryo grenades, so we'll get ourselves some missiles like that. This one here is HE, which is high explosive, slightly higher radius. Funnily enough, these things do require frag grenades, and there's ones that also require frag mines. So if you happen to pick these up off of enemies, you can find them on the ground most of the time if they're mines, then you can reprocess them and fire them back at your enemies. Very elegant. HG is the hallucinogen gas grenade, which applies frenzy. So potentially if you want to start off a fight and kill something or just stir chaos around your enemies, which you'll be doing, you can fire this and then watch the fireworks. The Merv grenades, as I said before, are relevant now. Just another type of grenade you can fire out of this rocket-propelled grenade device. And you can make the napalm ones out of missiles and flamer fuel, and as well as the standard ones where you can craft them out of the napalm missiles, and also utilizing the empty Gustavs reprocessed. There's also a pulse version here, which is pretty nice, and I'm actually running out of steel. Nuke versions and plasma versions. Also smart versions, you can replace your HE ones with the smart versions, which will obviously lock onto your target and deal damage real easy like. You don't have to aim them, it'll track onto the target. So I'm gonna make some more of these. I'm gonna get myself a good amount so it can last a decent time out in the field, and then I'm going to shoot stuff. Alright, so we're outside of the immersive Gunners Plaza, and this is the Riot Shield in first person. I should stress that this thing is in fact a melee weapon, so you can blow up cars with it by punching it. It's like a sort of a bash. It makes the same sound as when you hit stuff as a power fist, actually. And there's also sort of this blocking animation where it'll do that instead. So I'm guessing if something hits you whilst you're doing that, they will stagger and you'll be more braced for impact. Also, I should stress that despite me punching and blowing up this car, I took no damage. So we're very well protected behind this thing. I've also got a bunch of missile launchers that are all on this sort of thing. So, you know, going into your Pip-Boy and choosing these, that's unimmersive. So what I'm going to do is just stand in front of these guys with the shield up, digging through the pockets, I guess the bag that I have here, which has got an NCR logo on the back, by the way. That's a Creation Club item. It's also got the explosives, so it gives me plus 5% extra damage. That's nice. But yes, whilst I'm scrolling through what weapon to use next, will be nice and safe behind this shield because Sentinel is currently active. And even if I wanted to move, I couldn't. I'm tapping the WASD now. So we'll start off with AT, or maybe I should start off with Pulse because I'm going to get rid of their turrets over there. It's okay. We don't have to shield up now because we're not currently being shot at. Not yet. So, like I said, I'm demonstrate firing this thing, so the missile goes away, and then the thing just drops in front of you. And if you don't pick that up, that could just get blown up and sent elsewhere. Also, to my surprise, there is some drop on this projector, which I was not anticipating. So, there might be a little bit more of a learning curve than I first thought. But fortunately, we've got a little thing called VATS, which is not going to do very well for us in terms of sustained fire, unless we've got a bunch of these. But as soon as we're out of the VATS run, this thing, it doesn't take up a lot of AP. We're just going to be covered in guns. We'll stub our toe and trip over. It won't be pleasant. So there are my Gustavs on the ground there. And let's bring up the Riot Shield for a second. It's got sounds. And if I try to block whilst this man's attacking me... Okay, it didn't stagger him. He can block the Riot Shield, though. We did disarm him, though, which is nice. So that's 500 damage, which is really quite good. That's a baseball bat swing. I just pressed Alt just to see what would happen, but let's choose our next thing. They're putting pressure on us. As soon as we drop the shield, then we're vulnerable, but... we've got a bunch of AT now. I feel like we should be doing a little bit better than that. We're firing an 84mm projectile. It's like the Gustav recoilless rifle. We're just dumping all of the AT ones on the ground here. Okay, this is definitely not what we want right now. So, plan B. Let's see what else we got in our little bag of tricks. We could cryo. That opens up some puns like chill out. That's slightly better. Also, this is something I haven't anticipated either. If you were to say fire at your Gustavs on the ground because there's like a ton, they're just gonna go everywhere. Okay, that's great. Not really if I want to pick them up, but is that a freeze? No, that's just a knockdown. That's okay, I guess. They were completely disarmed for a time, I suppose. Oh, that's a ragdoll. That's what that was. Very nice. Okay. I think we're going to need something with a little bit more power. Let's see. perhaps plasma. We'll have a couple of plasma shots. There we go. The direct hits seem to be what we want to go for here, which is kind of not the area of effect that I wanted out of this particular thing. Oh, so we're just making a mess here. You could potentially say that this is going to make the game crash. All these physics objects sitting on the ground, and you know, this game with physics objects, sometimes it just doesn't cope well, and I got a feeling that you might be able to get yourself a little bit of damage by holding on to these things. So there goes all my plasma rounds. Let's go napalm. Or not. I tried to move out of the way. We're currently on fire. It's not good. That fire's on a little bit more of a, pun unintended, fire's on a little bit more of a flat trajectory, I suppose. But I'm not impressed by the missile speed there, or the splash radius. Now, according to the tooltip, we're supposed to be getting about 200 damage over 5 seconds. Now, you are definitely in the blast radius, and you are taking very little fire damage. Okay, let's not use the napalm ones again. There are very fire-resistant gunners here. Perhaps multiple explosions. Our friends at Mr. Torg here will have this one sponsored. Oh, it's like a shotgun. That's awesome. Let's keep going. Oh, that's getting the damage right there. That's what you want. Now, I'm surprised we haven't been taken out yet, but this is definitely doing the job. Now, Merv grenades are a little bit more expensive and rare. The spread, oh, lovely. This is like full canister shell, but it's explosive. And I'm going to have to reload the save after this because I'm not picking all of these weapons up. There aren't enough hours in the day. Okay, we're out. Okay, I don't think this weapon is practical, but I'm nothing but perseverant. Okay, let's try that again. We're going to be lobbing explosives whilst using the shield. I've just put these on the ground there. Good luck to anyone who finds them, or if they don't see them, hopefully they don't trip over. Anyways, so there's actual throwing animations for this shield. You can't see the arc of where the things are gonna go, and I keep looking up, and I think those little studs in the shield. I thought that was where the grenade was. We're throwing nuke grenades, by the way, the Children of Atom special, and I feel like they're doing a better job here. Although I guess our time to kill is higher on average. And hang on, I hear a blood bug. Get out of here, mate. Had about enough of you. Behind the safety of our shield, we're just going to be fine. The only thing I think that is going to kill us at this point is if we're... You want to sprint with the shield in front of you and not to your side? I know it's probably important that you need to know where you're going, but... yeah, we can tank all day, and provided that the grenade doesn't get shot on transit, then we can put it in a very safe spot. I feel like our throwing distance has been greatly affected by this, although I haven't thrown a grenade in Fallout 4 in a very long time. Last time I threw a grenade in a Fallout game was in, not even New Vegas, in Fallout 76, where you've got... Wow! Okay, you see that guy? Whoever that was screaming like a mini nuke, that thing. We just shrugged it off instantly, but I think you get the point. Potentially not the best combination using the Gustavs and the Riot Shield at the same time, but I do feel compelled to add that not using the Gustav along with these things is probably the most effective this thing has been. I'm gonna do a run and bash attack here. Really thought that one would have knocked you down. What if we just charge into him? No. Leopard print gunner, you're going down. I think you get the point at this stage. I'm going to try to bash him in third person. Oh. That's an interesting kill move there. I don't think there's going to be a lot more that I could show off that is going to be that interesting, but there's some cool third person animations. In terms of like a melee weapon, it should go alright, and knowing the massive criticals you could get, the sneak criticals of course, with these particular weapons, we might be able to just like kill Swan in like 2 seconds. And hang on, we gotta make sure we're facing all of our targets instead of getting turned around from one guy. So Operation Shield Bash is going exceedingly well. We're barely using up any AP either, which might be an oversight, to be honest. Oh, we actually uppercutted that gunner. Nice. But, yeah, I think you get the point. Let's just move on, because the game just crashed again. Alright, welcome to the dead of night. It is currently midnight. We've got our shield. We're completely invisible, because the shield's painted black. And I'm going to punch this Nightkin. I missed. Can you blame me? Okay, we punched him on the nuke and took 0 damage. Like, not even the shockwave can get through this thing. Also, eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed in the corner, times 12 damage. This is going to be pretty great. Now, I don't know how this thing is going to handle itself in VATS, but I'm gonna see what happens. He's friendly, but he won't be for very long. Okay, so it's just normal third-person attacks. That makes sense. And a crit. No crits. We'll go now. We got one now. Alright. So, Operation Stealthy Riot Shield is, going well. He hasn't spotted us yet. You know, I feel like you would have by now. Oh, I didn't even utilize, Blitz all that much, to be honest. I could have, but there he goes. We've all learned a valuable lesson today. Explosives bad, stealth melee good, even if your stealth melee is hitting people with this giant blunt shield. And pending more updates, maybe we'll take another look at this thing. If you could utilize pistols with it, I don't know how exactly they'd get that to work. They'd have to use different animation sets and have pistols built around usually using this thing at the same time. But I suppose you could say it's possible. And that's about it. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with the Gustav. I think I'd rather just have a vanilla game missile launcher or a vanilla game Fat Man instead of those things, which is a shame because it's a cool idea, but I think the execution leaves a little bit lacking. This, however, Riot Shield in its early form is interesting. It makes you a bulletproof tank, and I know that we had Sentinels along with it, but I was not going to leave it unmodified. But, yeah, it's interesting. Because nothing will kill you, because it'll just do so little damage, and we've got 1400 damage, so what little damage that we're doing barely even registered on the old HP bar as we were going. So it's an interesting concept. I'd like to follow this mod and see how it goes in the future, but hopefully we'll be able to use pistols or something with it soon. I know that'd be pretty overpowered at this stage because you can sneak with the pistols, and if you get detected, then you're basically bulletproof. So yeah, maybe some work needs to be done, but I think it's a pretty solid mod, fun to mess around with. So if you'd like to see this thing in your game, check out the link in the description. There'll be links to Xbox ports of these where they are actually existing. Thank you very much for watching, guys.